Cover that briefly so they don't think like we just picking on somebody. The male hijab is?
Well, we don't call it a hijab.
What's it
called? We call it the awra. We call it what needs to be covered. But every Muslim man has to cover at least from the navel to the knee. That should not be showing anything more than that. And this is the minimum. The Prophet ﷺ said that when you're praying, even try to have something covering your shoulders. So have something that is covering more than that. And also there's the hijab of the eyes, which means that the brother should not be staring, at every sister that goes by. They should be lowering their gaze. The Quran has a very clear verse where Allah says, "Let the believing men lower their gaze, and let the believing women lower their gaze." We shouldn't be staring, at the opposite gender, because that only leads to lust and more passions.
Okay, real quick, live demonstration. We don't got a PowerPoint. You're just gonna tell me, look.
This is the hijab with a beard.
Is this hijab acceptable?
No, this is not the acceptable hijab. Firstly, because he's got a beard, so the hijab with the beard doesn't make sense. But
so
if you were a sister,
so for the sisters wearing the hijab, we love you. So from here, the hijab like so is
no,
acceptable?
this is not the perfect hijab. The hijab has to be covering.
We've seen it like this, Sheikh, for the woman.
Yeah, well, that is at least better than the first one, but still not quite up there, because the purpose of the hijab is to cover the upper portion of the body. You don't want to show your neck. You don't want to show any type. Is that also a demonstration?
No. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to show another demonstration. Okay. The purpose of the hijab is to cover the beauty of the woman, and to just cover the hair is not what the hijab is. Allah says in the Quran, "Let them lower their head garments over their chests." Head garments. Yes. So lower the head garment over your chest. What does that mean? Do it for me now. Lower the head garment, yes, over your chest. This is the verse of the Quran, exactly. This is the verse of the Quran. If you had covered the hair, that's basically what the hijab is. You're taking the head scarf and you're lowering over the chest. To wrap it around your head, you're not listening to the Quran, are you? Because the Quran clearly says, take the head garment and lower it over your chest. So you take it from here and you move it all the way down there. In our times, we call this a scarf or a hijab. Okay, and the Quran also says, let them wear a jilbab, which is a clothing, a garment that is worn above and on top of what the sister usually wears at home. And then this, obviously not. Obviously covering not. the chest, but... But again, I would like to point out here that I would advise the brothers and the sisters to be gentle in their approach to hijab. Hijab is not the biggest issue. If a sister isn't praying 5 times a day... That's a bigger issue. That's a bigger issue. That's a much bigger issue. Also, if the sister is dressing very immodestly, then try to start her to dress a little bit more modestly. Step by step, yeah. And so if a sister is just wearing a skirt and tight shirts, if a person says, let's just start with loose skirt all the way ankle level and a loose shirt, that's better than what she's doing, isn't it? Let's not be like, expect her to go from 0 to 100 in 10 seconds. No, it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. So let her start gradually. I'm not saying it's permissible just to wear a skirt and a loose shirt, but I'm saying it is better than wearing a mini skirt and a tight shirt, right? So let's be gradual here. And if the sisters in themselves want to gradually develop their hijab, they'll say, okay, for 1 month, I'm going to just dress in, cover my entire arms and entire legs, not the headscarf. Let me just try that, get used to that. When that 1 month is over, then I'm going to move on to just a loose headscarf, and then I'll move on to a perfect one. Let her be gradual as well, and let us be supportive and encouraging rather than being strict and harsh upon her. Because really and truly, I have to admit, I admire every single sister that has the courage to wear their hijab in a society where people will look and stare at her. Bigger reward too. She has more guts than the majority of Muslim brothers do, because the Muslim brothers are dressing, like GQ. They're looking real cool. They're taking the latest fashions and jeans and everything, and they couldn't care less. It's the sisters who are showing us the courage and iman of Islam. So let's never forget that, brothers. Don't be so critical of the sisters when you yourselves aren't living up to the ideals of Islam. So I say, really and truly, the sisters who are wearing their hijab, mashallah, they are a source of inspiration to all of us. We love them all. We love them all. So in concluding now, the one who says, listen, I'm going to pray my salat, but this hijab, keep it to yourself. I'll never wear it. This is bad, big no-no? That's basically, yeah, it's even better for her to say, I know I should wear the hijab, I right now I can't do it, may Allah forgive me. For her to acknowledge that she's sinning. Acknowledge it at least. At least acknowledge it. Because will Allah guide you if you say... If you're sincere in that regard, but Allah will guide you. If you deny... If you deny, that's a very dangerous thing. He'll never... Now you're transgressing. Well, that's definitely... Does Allah say He does not guide the transgressors? Yeah, if you show arrogance and insolence, God says He's not going to guide you. So to show that arrogance, to say, I don't care, I'm not going to wear it, that's just arrogant. Rather, a sister and a brother who's doing something they shouldn't do should say, I know I shouldn't be doing this. May Allah forgive me and guide me.
So pray to Allah to make it easier on you, to help you through the struggle. Admit it, acknowledge it, and then work towards it.
Work towards it as well.
And pray earnestly to the Creator of the heavens and earth. Can you please give some closing remarks, comments to
Closing comments. The way that a Muslim dresses is important, but it's not the most important thing. So let's keep this in perspective. The most important thing is the pure worship of Allah, which is manifested in believing in Allah alone, directing your prayers and sacrifice and worship and dua to Him, praying 5 times a day, fasting the month of Ramadan, being a good Muslim, being good to your parents and being good to everybody else. And along with this is also the way that a Muslim dresses. So let's prioritize it. Let's put it in its proper place. People go to extremes. Some brothers and sisters, they make the hijab the most important issue, and others, they make it the most trivial issue and say it's all in my heart. No, hijab is somewhere in the middle. It's not the most important thing, and it's not the least important thing either. So let's prioritize. When a Muslim sister is not wearing the hijab, look at her whole situation. Is she praying? Is she fasting? Is she being a Muslim in much more important things than the hijab? If she is, now move on to the hijab. And if she's not, then don't start with the hijab. Start with her relationship with Allah. Start with some love and some tenderness. And always remember, brothers and sisters, that the best way to invite people to Islam is through gentleness and wisdom, and not through harshness and labeling. Always remember that a sister who wears hijab, she is showing her courage, she is showing her Islam 24/7, and that is more than most brothers do. So have some respect and realize it's not an easy thing for the sisters to wear hijab. So brothers, chill. Brothers, calm down and understand that the hijab is a very difficult thing for the sisters, and encourage them bit by bit. Your own sisters and people whom you know, encourage them bit by bit. They're not going to go from 0 to 100 immediately. Do it gently and softly, and always remember that when a sister has a good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, slowly but surely she will work her way to the hijab. Don't make your arrogance and insolence and demeaning attitude a barrier. Rather, be gentle and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and use your wisdom in giving da'wah. And inshaAllah ta'ala, not just the hijab, all of the other issues of Islam will fall into place in the life of any practicing Muslim or Muslimah.
Sheikh, thank you so much. May Allah reward you for your efforts. You did a
My
great
pleasure.
job.
My
And
pleasure.
inshallah, we're going to have you back maybe in, inshallah, August sometime.
Inshallah.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
so please start emailing us your suggestions on any topics you'd like for us to cover with the Sheikh. Like I said, he's going to have his own section on thedeenshow.com where you can visit us and other sheikhs that we have on there covering very different issues, letting you see how Islam tackles these, and inviting you to this beautiful way of life that's for everybody. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you.